Welcome to your community. This is your hometown. This is Walton Entertainment. This is where you can hear from the community and those making a difference. We explore topics, local festivals, arts and entertainment, and local news. For this program and much more, visit us online at yourlocalstream.com. That's yourlocalstream.com.
Good morning. Thank you for watching. I'm Dina Huff, the Executive Director for the Partnership for Families, Children, and Youth. And I have a guest this morning, which is no new face to you all because she helps me out so much here at the Partnership, Miss Tisha Finn. And we're going to tell you a little bit about what our YAB kids have been doing. So, Tish, tell us what we're seeing here in our office.
Yes, thank you. This is a tower garden that we were awarded a grant for through Whole Kids Foundation. It was provided by Let Us Grow, which is a company that sells these individually. Again, we did receive grant funds for it, and that's what we've got in front of us. It's going to grow us some salad greens.
Okay, so what are your plans?
Yeah, our plans.
Vegetables?
Well, we originally found this idea through Barbara Bastian, you know her, who owns Atlanta Skin Institute, and she's a local tower gardener. And she gave us the idea when she came to do some health classes with us at Monroe area. They have one there at Monroe Area High School. And what they use it for there is the kids will take clippings from at home. And then you can sometimes root the vegetables, but more often just eat them. So what we plan on doing is the kids, as things are getting harvested, they're going to research different meals that they can make. And so then we'll benefit from that. So at our meetings, we meet the first and third Thursdays of the month. Our first Thursday is where we eat dinner. And so they're going to plan some meals around that and get that going.
Oh, well, and tell us a little bit about how the garden works. I know that I'm sitting in my office and all of a sudden I hear this water fountain. So tell us a little bit about how the plants are watered.
That startled me a little bit. We do have a engineering student at University of Georgia who helped us set this up. This garden in particular uses fresh water in the bottom, and then it recycles up. So you'll see the reservoir in the back, but it has a pump that brings the water from the bottom, and then it trickles down. If I may get up, Paul, these little containers are perforated, and they have soil in them, just a tiny bit of dirt. And so the water comes down, trickles down through them, is reclaimed, and then recycles back up. So it uses a very minimum amount of water to keep everything hydrated.
Oh, so
and that's the pump you hear.
Yes. It's a lot of fun.
It is fun. We're excited.
And I've noticed even this week how much the plants have grown.
I have too. And this window must be a nice spot. We actually have ring lights that are coming, but those were back ordered through the company that will sit between those tiers and offer more light during the wintertime. But for now, we're rotating the garden here. You have a nice sunny window, so that's a good spot.
And so they recommend placing it in front of a window.
Or outdoors.
Okay.
It can even go outdoors.
Okay, excellent. Well, how did this come about? I mean, why were the kids interested in this?
They are so inspiring. As you know, those kids, they really were inspired by Miss Bastian had us make some little balls. They were kind of like cake balls, but they were all with raw ingredients. So we used seeds and some greens, and we chopped everything up, and we bound it together with sesame butter. And just through that experience, sort of making something right there in a classroom in a high school, they became inspired by it. And then Miss Bastian let us know about this grant through Whole Foods, and they were all over it. They wanted to get one for every school in the district, but we're going to start with one and see how that goes.
Yeah. Okay, well, excellent. I look forward to actually eating from this tower garden.
We'll keep you posted. This one was called the Comfort Food Tower. You were able to choose different seedling packets, and so we're hoping that we can make some good soups. It's got some celery in there, some broccoli in there, bok choy, and then several herbs.
Well, maybe we can bring Paul back to film some of the end products and sample some of the food that
Oh,
the
we
kids
would
make.
love that. We'd love that, and then they'd get to meet some of our kids.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, anything else the kids have going on?
Oh gosh, you know.
I know they have their hands in so much. It's hard to keep up.
They
Keep
do.
up with them.
The thing we're working on now, though, is we're working with DDA on a Meet Me in Monroe campaign. So we're going to have little groups of teenagers who meet each other downtown and show off that we have parking downtown and that lots of things are walking distance. So that's something that we're working on now. We're going to be doing a project with Project Renewal, the domestic violence center here. They're going to talk to us about dating violence. And then this week we are signing up to see what we're going to do with Christmas. If we're going to do a Christmas parade or if we're going to pass things out at the parade. And we're talking about that on Thursday.
And that's coming up.
It is, first week in December.
Well, that I know they are always busy. They always have great ideas.
They do.
So we're just thankful to have a good group of kids in the YB group, and you're such a wonderful leader.
Thank you, and you keep us in snacks and support. We appreciate that very much, and everything you guys do at the partnership, we are so grateful for, including letting us use your office space for our veggies.
And we have a great board that supports us. Actually, two boards: the partnership board and the Walton Youth Project board.
Yes.
And you know, they're wonderful to work for, and we couldn't do what we do here in Walton County without them.
No way. Oh, and I almost forgot. Speaking of our board members, we'll be out at Social Circle next week on Monday for Red Ribbon Week.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll
Yeah,
be out
that's
there.
coming up, and there's so many things in October, and then we move into the busy season of Thanksgiving and then Christmas. And I shared this a couple of weeks ago, but I would like to remind everybody about the Empty Stocking Fund application dates. I just want to give you those dates once more because that's coming up. And the first application date is Tuesday, November 1st in Social Circle from 9 to 11 at the Social Circle Senior Center. And then Wednesday, November 2nd in Monroe. Now, last year we had it at Felker, but that is a voting precinct now. So we've moved that to Nowell Recreation Center, which is right beside the library. And those times are from 9 until 11 in the morning, and then 6 until 7:30 in the evening. And then on Thursday, November 3rd, from 9 until 11 at the Rock Gym in Loganville. So if you have any questions about that, just feel free to call me on my direct line, and that's 770-207-3175. And
mine is 770-207-3174. Just reach out if you need anything.
yeah. Well, thank you for watching as always, and thank you for joining me. It's great to get some information out there about what our future's doing.
What our future's doing
for Walton County. So as always, thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Hey Walton County, it's Patrice Broughton here, your Public Information Officer, here to give you another Walton County update. We'll start with the October board meeting that was held on Tuesday, October 4th. We had several folks come out to the meeting on November and voice their concern during public comment about animal control operations. If you would like to see those comments and what was said, you can go on to the Walton County Facebook page or the Walton County website and take a look at those public comments. So everyone was at this meeting with the exception of Commissioner Warren, who participated via phone. It was not a long board meeting, but we did take care of some business. The first thing we did was add an addition of an appointment to the Board of Appeals further down the agenda, and then we went into Planning and Zoning Commission recommendations. So the Board of Commissioners did go with the approval of a rezone for 7.715 acres from A1 to B3 for business use, and the applicant was Bill Hartley, and the property was located at Highway 78 and Tommy Dillard Road. It was approved with some conditions, and it was to be used for the requested purpose only. There were to be no on-site chemical or hazardous waste storage, and the entrance and exit had to be on Highway 78 only. So we did adopt a resolution for the fiscal year 2023 budget amendments. And we adopted the approval of a supplemental resolution approving the terms of the supplemental bond adopted by the Walton County Water and Sewage Authority, which authorizes and approves the final terms of the Walton County Water and Sewerage Authority revenue bonds for the Hard Labor Creek Reservoir Water Treatment Facility project. She also approved a contract for a consulting agreement with Mike Martin. Mike Martin will be working with the Planning and Zoning Department with the Rivian site. We made an appointment to the O'Kelly Memorial Library Board, and we appointed Robin Dill. We also had an appointment to the Board of Appeals and appointed Jim Cleveland. So there was some discussion at this meeting, and they discussed some possible changes to enabling legislation for the Board of Commissioners. Again, if you would like to see that discussion, you can see a video of it on the Walton County Facebook page, as well as the Walton County website. And there was also discussion about the rebuilding of the Good Hope Fire Station, which is Fire Station 7. There will be some information coming out about Fire Station 7 and the rebuild, so keep your ears and eyes open, peeled for that. So we have had some resurfacing projects going on with the Public Works Department. They did resurface Bearden Road. And also they finished the resurfacing project at Ammons Bridge Road. They also completed a bridge replacement on Jacks Creek Road. As everyone knows, early voting is underway. So if you would like to see where your early voting locations are, you can find that information on the elections page at the Walton County website. Walton County website is www.waltoncountyga.gov. Also, on the elections ballot this year, there are a couple of things. So just wanted to make sure folks had some information. So you will see some language concerning T-Splost. If you have any questions about what T-Splost is and what it does, you can also find that information on the Walton County website. There are some answers to some frequently asked questions, as well as the Walton County project list, as well as the list for the municipalities in Walton County. So you can find all of that information under the web page titled T-Splost. It can be found on the home page of the website, as well as under the residents section of the website. And under that information, you will find the top 5 benefits of T-Splost for Walton County. And some of those things are better roads and trails for Walton County now and in the future. And it's a reduced burden on property taxpayers. So currently, our cities and county rely heavily on property taxes to repair and maintain roads. T-Splost will allow for funding that is not dependent on property taxes. And T-Splost is a transportation special local option sales tax, where the funds collected are required by law to be used for transportation purposes only. Walton County and each municipality in the county have worked together to select the most pressing projects that impact each jurisdiction in the county. So some other benefits are that T-Splosh are cost shared by non-residents. The proposed 1 cent T-Splosh applies to all purchases made in our county and not just those who own property. So tourists, non-residents who work in the county, and those who pass through our roads will all contribute to helping maintain, improve, and expand our transportation system. So there is a state DOT matching grant guarantee. So T-Splosh funds can be used to match transportation grants from the state and federal government. It is anticipated that 80 million raised at the local level across Walton County, 1 penny at a time, will result in 100 million of state and federal taxes being returned to our county to be spent for transportation in the form of new grants. So the funds do stay in Walton County. T-Splosh funds collected can only be used for local transportation purposes, and that includes new paving, repaving and repairing roads and streets, drainage and safety improvements, intersection improvements, roadside maintenance, sidewalks, and trail. Again, you can find all of this information at the Walton County website on the T-Splosh webpage that can be found on the homepage as well as under the residents section. As always, if you have any questions of us, you can give us a call at 770-267-1301. We hope everyone is enjoying the great fall weather and that everyone is staying safe. Thank you, Walton County.
Hi, I'm Jody Johnson. I'm here with another recreation report, and we want to welcome our new sports programs that are going on. Our fall sports have just about winded down. Our football season has about 2 more weeks, and then we'll start with the playoffs. So good luck to our Monroe and Loganville and Social Circle teams that will be headed towards the playoffs soon. So we've got our winter basketball program has started. We've started our evaluations and picking our teams and doing schedules, getting uniforms ready. We have close to 850, 60 kids that have signed up this year. So we're looking forward to a great winter season with our basketball program. So if you haven't registered, it may be too late. You can call one of our offices at one of our community centers and see if there's any spots available for you. So do that as quickly as possible. So see if we can get you into our winter basketball season. So do that. We also invite you to come to our community centers. And one thing that we do have going on over the next 2 weeks here, and I have Joyce Chambers that's with me today to talk about that. It's something that I think is working out real well with our community centers. We want to invite everyone down to our community centers, and this is one way for those that might not have seen it to see our community centers. So Joyce, she's with the
Walton County Election Board.
Yes.
I'm the vice chair of the Walton County Election Board, and we in the past have had our early voting at the parks. Because of the excessive amount of kids that are going to be playing basketball, we have relocated our early voting site from the Nowell Recreation Center to Felker Park. Felker Park is located 725 South Madison Avenue. And as Jody has said, with the new center opening in Social Circle at the address of, let's see here, 573 Fairplay Road, we've added an early voting site here. So there's 3 places that you can go and early vote: Meridian Park in Loganville, Felker Park in Monroe, and the Social Circle site. And I want to encourage you to early vote. That is for, like Jody said, 2 more weeks. We do have 2 Saturday voting days. That will be Saturday, October the 22nd, and Saturday the 29th. On Saturday, you vote from 9 to 5. Monday through Friday, you early vote from 8 to 5 p.m. However, if you miss an early voting date, you can still vote on election day at your precinct, the precinct that you're assigned to. If you're not sure where that is, call the elections office at 770-267-1337. So remember, vote. A lot of good people did a lot of good things to make it possible for you and me and Jody to vote. So please vote.
And it's really good. I think the community centers and the spaces that we've allowed, those 3 places for early voting, they're easily to go in and
Accessible.
out of. There's plenty of room. The lines, y'all have done a great job of how you set it up. I haven't seen places that, even though you've done over 600 a day over in at Felker Park in Monroe, it sounds like a lot of people, but I don't think you're having a whole lot of wait time.
We're not.
To come in, and the bathrooms are very nice and clean. And while you're there, you ought to think about signing up. If you're over 60 years old, it's absolutely free, except for a $20 membership card. So go and we'd be glad. Our staff is there to help you. If you want to look around, just ask one of our staff people and we'll give you a tour of any of our facilities. So I think it's a great location. Now, this is just for early voting. If you want to go to any of those sites, if you work in one town but you live in another, you can vote anywhere.
Correct.
As long as you're in Walton County.
That's correct.
When it gets down to the day of voting, that first Tuesday in November, you've got to go to your normal place.
That's right, November 8th, and the hours of that election day is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And some of the centers are still going to be used for regular voting.
Yes.
Now will we go back to being a site?
Yes, the South Monroe precinct will still vote at Nowell because we just take his gym for one day.
Thank you.
And the Bay Creek will go to the Meridian Park. And then Social Circle precinct will be here where we're at today at the one located at the South Walton Community Center.
Yeah, it's been great. Their staff goes in and does a great job, very courteous to everyone. And if you need help getting in and out of your car, again, just ask our staff. We'll be glad to help you. But we do have plenty of close parking for you to get in and out of. So it's been great. So we encourage you to come to our community centers, whether you're coming to vote, just to visit, just to walk, exercise. We've got a lot of things going on. Go to our website at waltoncountyga.gov and you can see all our facilities and our centers and what we have to offer at some of our outside pavilions, some of our playgrounds, some of our neighborhood parks. So a lot of activity and a lot of places for you to play and to program. So we appreciate it. Thank you for coming, Ms. Joyce, and talking about early voting. It is important to get out and vote. So we want you encourage you to do that, and we will see you next time.
Well, may I say one last thing?
Sure.
When Jody just said the website, waltoncountyga.gov, you can also get to the elections department as you do to Parks and Rec, and you can get a lot of good information on the elections website, which is located under that.
Yeah, once you go to your departments page, you can hit any department on there. That's not just for the Parks and Recreation Department, even though we're listed as one of those tabs. You can also go to elections and hit those tabs, and it'll give you the locations of everything you need.
Yes, sir. That's great. Thank you, Jody.
All right. So as always, remember, sportsmanship starts at home, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Monroe Walton Center for the Arts. Today we're in our book nook, which we've had for years. We've had a book nook area, but we kind of did a fruit basket turnover and moved things, flipped things around back here. We call this the alcove area. In this area we used to have photography, but now it's our book nook. We're still working on it, but it's really coming along very nicely. There's a lot of local authors. Our literary arts chair is Barbara Barth, who just, I think, released this week a new book that's a Christmas little short novella, I guess it's called. So we have just a lot of local writers. We've got humor, we've got adult books that are mystery, murder type things. We've got children's books, we've got the cookbook, a couple of cookbooks actually. One from the William Harris Homestead and one from Anne Marie, who a lot of you know as the organic baker and mushroom hunter and forager. She has a really great, interesting cookbook. So a whole range of books. Did I say children's books? We have those too. So, and more authors coming. They're pretty excited about this new space that we're offering. We got new shelves. Ooh, it looks really good. And this is where we hold our book club events too. The next one is Tuesday, October 25th. And we're doing Rules of Civility. It's a really great book. I'm in book club. We've got usually 8 or 10 women that come, and it's a lot of fun. You'll meet some great ladies, and so this is where we have our book club meeting too. We're still working on this area. I think we're going to paint a rug on the floor, some super creative things coming, and even more authors coming, book signings and book launches and meet the author type events, workshops coming very soon. Katie Hart-Smith is coming to do some workshops, some creative writing, fiction writing, book workshops. And then behind Paul, you can't really see it, and we're still working on that area too, but we have paper products, like most of our cards are back in that area. Lots of super creative cards, prints and photography and things like that. So primarily I'm looking now, that's what's in this area. It's the kind of things that you would find in kind of an upscale bookshop. That's kind of the vibe we're going for. So this is our book nook, and if you're interested in that, please give us a call. I'll get you in touch with Barbara, and she would love to talk to you. Our other exciting news is our tickets are on sale now for the Christmas home tour. It's December 10th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. You have 6 hours. We have 13 homes on the tour. 9 are private homes, and then we have 4 historic properties on the tour as well that we're showcasing. We have already sold over 200 tickets, and at the time this is being filmed, the tickets have only been on sale for 4 days. So I think we're going to sell out. So if you're interested in getting a ticket to go to, and we got people coming from out of state to see this tour. It's really exciting. So if you're interested, I would urge you to go ahead. Don't wait until December 10th. We may or may not have any walk-up tickets available. I don't know if we're going to sell out or not, but it's really looking like we might sell out. So you can buy them online. You can go to MonroeWaltonArts.org, and right there on the front page there's a link to take you to all the information, some photographs of most of the houses that are on the tour, all the information and guidelines that you need to know, plus our sponsors that we really, really appreciate. Couldn't do this without the support of the local businesses. So please visit our website, MonroeWaltonArts.org. You'll see a link right there on the front page. Or you can come in and you can buy the tickets in person. Now, what you'll be buying is a reservation for your ticket. You'll actually pick out a paper guide that will be your guide and your map and your ticket in December. Those will be available December 1st. So, but I do urge you to go ahead and buy your ticket, because I think we're going to sell out. So we've got tons of events. Our Christmas shop opens October 29th. We've kind of done a reworking of the entire shop. The whole gallery will be a gift shop starting October 29th. So lots of fun, exciting things coming up, workshops that will be going on through the holiday season, special events and sales. So come see us and pick up a class list, an events list, and we'll see you soon.
Hello, I'm Kenny Sargent with Keep Walton Beautiful, the Walton County Recycling Center. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Keeping busy here at the center. We're just wrapping up our Rivers Alive event, and we want to thank everyone who volunteered to come out and clean up for that. Our numbers were down a little bit this year. We were down to about 150 volunteers, and in its heyday we were up around 300 volunteers, but kind of since COVID, that they knocked those numbers down, and we're trying to build them back up. We have more this year than we had last year, so we're hoping it continues to grow. We're now looking forward to our America Recycles Day. We have scheduled another paint collection event That will be Saturday, November the 12th from 8 until noon. So if you've got any old paint around the house that you don't know what to do with, it's really hard to get rid of, and it's a perfect opportunity to properly get rid of that stuff. We'll be partnering with the Atlanta Paint Disposal. We will be charging $3 per gallon container for latex paint and $4 per gallon container of oil-based paint. That's exactly the amount they charge us for those items. So, we do have to pass that cost on. We don't charge anything additional. We're not making any money on it at all, but we do have to have a way to pay for the event. You'll still find that's the cheapest option out there to get rid of paint. There are some places out there that will accept old paint, but they do charge quite a bit more than that. So again, it's very hard to get rid of. This is a great opportunity to get rid of it. We're going to try to get word out as much as we can. We get calls all the time about paint. We've started trying to do 2 events a year. We're going to try to do one, every November, and we'll try to do another in the spring. So if you can't make it to this one, just keep your eyes and ears open for the one we'll be doing in the spring. If you have any further questions about the paint event, just give us a call out here. We'd be happy to help you out. Our number is 770-267-1421. So give us a call for more details about the event. We're looking forward to it. It's gotten to be one of our biggest events here at the center. So spread the word and call us if you have questions. Also, it's gotten to be that time of year where, a lot of us are getting up leaves and doing our some of our last bit of work in the yard. And just wanted to remind folks that leaves, tree limbs, and things like that, shrubs, they have to go to an inert landfill. They will turn our trucks around, and then we're stuck with a big pile of trash that we really don't know what to do with. And we just can't have that happen, so we just simply can't take it. We do have a few options in the county of inert landfills. We'd be happy to direct you to the nearest one to you, but if you make the trip all the way out here with those items, we'll have no choice but to turn you around and to direct you to those places. So give us a call, and we'll help you get to the nearest one to you. And as far as that goes, when we wrap up our America Recycles Day in November, we'll kind of start planning for more of our spring events. We are planning to put in an application to try to do another tire amnesty. Tires are a big problem around the county. That is something we're looking to do. In fact, we're working on the application now. So we're hopeful we can pull off another tire amnesty event. It's been a while, and I know a lot of you are looking for places to take old tires. So that's something to be on the lookout for. And like I always say when I do these things, if you haven't been out to our center before, not quite sure what we do, want to recycle some things that perhaps your private hauler or whoever you use may not accept, come on out and see us. Let us show you what we do. Let us help you get started recycling. If you don't recycle, let us help you find new things to recycle that you may not be recycling now. So come out and see us. Give us a call with any recycling, conservation, environmental questions you have. We'd be happy to help, or at least get you to someone that may know the answers better than we do. So until next time, everyone take care.
Hey, I'm Isaac over at Reboot. Going to give you a Reboot tech tip today. Just want to talk a little bit about Windows 11. Windows 11 came out, I don't know, 2-3 months ago, something like that. And I don't recommend using Windows 11. Typically the way Microsoft works is every other generation of Windows is is an unfinished product. So like, I don't know, y'all might remember Windows Vista. Windows Vista was basically unfinished Windows 7. Windows 8 was unfinished Windows 10. And so I don't know if it's a money thing about why they send out the unfinished product, or maybe it's a test thing so the consumer can work out all the bugs or whatever. But so Windows 11 is that unfinished product. So and I think Windows 12 or whatever they're going to call it, it's supposed to come out. I think it's like 2 years from now or a year from now, something like that. So Windows 12, or again whatever they'll call it, will come out before Windows 10 goes out of service. That's what we recommend. Don't mess with Windows 11. It's got a whole bunch of glitches. For the most part, it's pretty much a nightmare. They changed a bunch of stuff, and it's just difficult to deal with. So if you go out and you get you a new computer, try and get one that still has Windows 10 on it, or computer places can generally downgrade them or do something a little different for you if you want. But yeah, so try to stay away from Windows 11. I know here at Reboot we sell Windows 10 still, and we'll continue to do that as long as we can. But anyway, that's it for today. Isaac giving you the Reboot Tech Tip.
I call it Murder and Mayhem because that's catchy, and there is some murder and some justifiable homicide and some self-defense, but there's a lot of mayhem. I mean, there's a couple of these stories that are absolutely unbelievable. You know what they say, truth is stranger than fiction. That's kind of how this works out. I'm Steve Brown, historian for the Monroe Museum, and I have this nice group of people, and we're about to take a walk and talk about murder and mayhem in Monroe, Georgia. This building, which is in the process of being remodeled, but more than the building, the location. So before 1900, Mr. Billington Sanders Walker, who built and lived in the two-story White House at the corner of Davis Street and South Broad Street. He was the father of Governor Clifford Walker, and his daughter, whose name escapes me, married Bob McWhirter, the University of Georgia's first All-American. But anyway, he built an opera house, and it was on North Broad. If you know where the tattoo parlor is, last time you got a tattoo. Actually, there are three stores there: the Italian restaurant, the tattoo parlor, and another store, and they're all three in one building. And he built an opera house there. Well, the opera house was a two-story wooden building, and it had three businesses downstairs, and upstairs was just an open hall where they had entertainment. I doubt very seriously if anybody ever sung opera up there, but they would have traveling shows, acts, things like that upstairs. Well, about 1900, Mr. Walker decided that he was going to build a brick building there, and which is the one that's there now. And he sold that opera house to Mr. Coleman Mobley, who was president of the mill. And Mr. Coleman Mobley took the two-story building, moved it down Broad Street and down Court Street, and put it right here. And it was the same purpose here. It had shops downstairs and a hall upstairs. I do remember at one time there was a tinsmith that had a shop downstairs. And Mr. Walker built the three buildings, the brick building with the three storefronts that's there now. Actually, if you pull the tattoo parlor sign off of the building, it says behind there in brick, B.S. Walker Block. So the opera house sat here, same thing. Now, the one thing add to that, when it was here, it was one of the first places that motion pictures were shown in Monroe. You'd have these men who traveled with a projector, and they'd come to town and put out bills about what they were going to show, and people show up, they show these little short motion pictures. So the opera house stayed here from just after 1900 until 1930. In 1930, Bob Nowell, for whom the Nowell Recreation Center is named, bought the property along with a partner whose name I can't think of. Anyway, they tore the Opera House down and they built the Cherokee Theater, which was a motion picture theater. Now that was the second dedicated movie theater in Monroe. The first being the Elite Theater, which was right, if you walk through this building to the other side of Broad Street, there was an engineering company in that building. I don't know if they're still there or something else is there. But that was Monroe's first movie theater. It was built and maintained for that purpose. Cherokee Theater was the second. Cherokee Theater stayed here. Bob Nowell sold it in 1940 to Troy Thomason. Troy Thomason also bought the lot at the corner of Washington and Broad Street and built the Troy Theater, named for himself. We have a huge exhibit in the museum about movies in Monroe. Got a picture of the interior of the Troy Theater. Hugo's sitting on the front row. Hugo actually gave us the pictures. It was made in 1947. I was born in 1947.
Well, not to interrupt you, I used to go to the Cherokee Theater and see every movie. Same with the Troy. I delivered circulars, so I got in free. So I saw every movie that it was in Monroe in the early 40s.
So
Sorry.
That's okay. Well, I love stuff like that. And then Randall's brother was a projectionist.
Started when he was 12 years old.
Yeah, he used to burn up the film over there.
But anyway, the Cherokee Theater went out of business in around 1955-56, and it was torn down, and this building was built here then. And the Troy Theater stayed until I believe 1967. It burned. That was the end. That was the last picture show. So I just thought I'd throw that in. All right, let's go across here. Something else doesn't have to do with murder, but I can't pass this up. This is our beautiful courthouse built in 1883. This is the fourth courthouse. The first courthouse was a log building, two-story log building. I think they paid the guy $50 to build it. And we don't know for sure that it was on this lot, but it probably was. And then the second courthouse, built in 1823, was a brick courthouse. And it was here. It was 2 stories. And it was probably closer to Broad Street than this is. And that lasted until 1841. And they built another larger 2-story brick courthouse, which stayed here until this one was built in 1883. And how many of y'all have ever been in this courthouse? Oh, well, that's great. Everybody. It's a beautiful building. I had a group the other day. I think one person, the whole group, has ever been in there. We're trying to get put together a program. And I'm gonna see if we can have it in the courthouse. I don't know how they'll. Used to have everything in the courthouse. All right, so now on to murder. Our first incident takes place in 1825. Which was shortly after Monroe was chartered in 1821, and it happened right across the street over here. Involved 2 individuals, Levi White, who is what we would call a gentleman farmer. He was fairly well-to-do and had a large farm that he farmed and had recently moved to Walton County, and Mr. Swords. So Levi White and Mr. Swords, who we don't know his first name. It was in the fall, an election was coming up for governor, and they got in a conversation about who should be elected governor, and they were on opposite sides of that conversation. So anyway, they got I say kind of an argument started, and then they split up. And they went to stores in town. Now, I have to tell you, the word store was a a little iffy because usually a store was a saloon. So you could go in almost every door in town and get a drink. And apparently that's what they did, or maybe that's what they did. Later in the day, they got together in a store, and the argument escalated to the point that Levi White took a knife out and grabbed Mr. Swords by the hair, pulled his head back and cut his throat, and dropped him in a pool of blood in the store. He was immediately arrested, put in chains, and locked up. Mr. Swords was a very well-liked person in the community, and they were concerned that a mob would take Levi White out of jail and hang him, or lynch him. And so they put 12 guards around the jail to protect him until his trial. Trial date came. It was not a long trial. The jury came back with a verdict of guilty, and I'm going to take time now and read you what the judge said. Levi White was sentenced to die on Friday, the 31st of March, between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. on a gallows to be erected for that purpose in the vicinity of the village of Monroe, where you shall be hanged by the neck until you are dead, and may the God of heaven have mercy on your soul. Well, that sounds justifiable, I guess, but it never happened. He was never hung. He went back to farming, and, and this is the mayhem part. Nobody knows why. I've never been able to find anything in newspapers or anything else about why he escaped the gallows, but he did. He was never hung. Nothing ever happened to him. He just went back to living. All right. Our next incident is really the weirdest one, and I'd like to go to the back of the courthouse. Let's go this way and see if we can get away from it. 1882, and there was two men, Henry Curry and Powell Reed, and they apparently were in love with the same lady. Her name was Carolyn Harris. The Atlanta Constitution describes her as a lady of questionable character. So Mr. Curry and Mr. Reed were spending the night at Carolyn Harris's house. And this is kind of strange, but they were sleeping together. She was in another room. And it came down to this, that neither one trusted the other, and so it was a thing like, well, whoever wakes up first is gonna kill the other one, and that's what happened. Henry Curry woke up first, and thinking if he waited around that Powell Reed would kill him, and so he got an axe and whacked Powell Reed in the head and killed him. Doesn't say that he cut his head off, just with an axe. I doubt it made any difference. And then he took off on the lam to South Carolina and joined the circus. I told you, you can't make this stuff up. But one of his other girlfriends in Atlanta told on him. And so the police went to South Carolina, they got him, they brought him back here, and they put him in jail. And at that time, the jail was right back here. They were building this courthouse. And the jail the old jail was about 3 feet from the back of the courthouse. Now this part right here was added on. The courthouse used to be cut off. There's 2 rooms that were added later. But anyway, he's in jail, and so he gets a friend one night to come by and hands him some matches through the window. He pulls boards off the ceiling of the jail and sets the jail on fire with the intent of escaping. Well, somebody happened by and saw the fire, and they called. We didn't, we didn't have a fire truck or anything, but they got a bucket brigade and they put the fire out. But the jail was damaged rather severely, and so the sheriff moved. I get these two mixed up a lot. Yeah. Curry moved Curry and the other prisoners to Fulton County, to the jail. And Curry had developed remorse for what he had done, apparently, and tried to commit suicide at the Fulton County Jail by diving off the stairwell. But it didn't work. He didn't die. He just hurt himself. They brought him back to Monroe, scheduled his execution, and indeed he was executed while there were over 3,000 people there to watch him being hung. So justice was served in that situation. All right, let's see. We're going to talk now about we're going to move to 1893. And again, right across the street, we think probably where your pie is, Oscar Carter had a saloon. And it was Christmas Eve, 1893, and apparently Oscar had consumed a good bit of his inventory. And so he came out the front door and started shooting to celebrate Christmas, I guess, and they couldn't get him to stop. And so, got a picture here. This is Claude Arnold, who was sheriff at the time, my cousin. And Claude and John Galloway started trying to come at Oscar from two directions with the object of containing him and getting him to stop shooting. But it got down to the point where it was either him or them, and one of them shot and killed him. It was probably John Galloway that killed him, but my cousin Claude said he did because he was the sheriff and they figured they wouldn't do anything to him for that, and that was right, they didn't. Oscar Carter is famous also for something else. In the 1880s, a circus went bankrupt in Monroe, and they sold everything in the circus on the courthouse steps. And amongst the acts that were part of the circus was an elephant named Empress, and she was sold to a man in Chicago, and they had to get her to Atlanta to put her on the train to get her to Chicago. And Oscar he had a corral behind his saloon, and he let them keep Empress in his corral overnight. The next day they had hired a man to walk the elephant to Atlanta, which they did. They stopped in, I believe it was Loganville, overnight, and the elephant stayed in a blacksmith shop. And it was in the winter, and apparently elephants are very sensitive to cold weather, so they had to keep her somewhere that was warm. So they spent the night in the blacksmith shop. But finally made it to Atlanta, put her on the train, and she went to Chicago, where she lived a fruitful life, I'm sure. All right. Okay, we need to go to the other side of the building. Let's see if we can do that. This is 1908, murder and perjury. So there were two men, J.H. Bowen and Olin Thomason, who was actually the brother of Troy Thomason, who built the theater there. And they were neighbors, they were friends. And Mr. Bowen worked right here. This building and this building was the Walton Trading Company. They sold wagons, buggies, and organs. This building was not here. This was an alley. It was called Arnold's Alley. Went through the Broad Street. So they got in a disagreement in this building. We don't know what it was about. We think it might have been about food for horses or cows or something. Anyway, the argument moved to Broad Street. Mr. Bowen had a pistol, but Mr. Thomason wound up with the pistol and killed Mr. Bowen on Broad Street. The policeman was there. He was arrested immediately. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right. And he was taken to jail. They had a trial where several people testified that it was self-defense, that Bowen had drawn the pistol on him and he had taken it away and killed him. And So there was a mistrial, and then they tried him again, and they acquitted him. Well, shortly after his acquittal, soon-to-be Governor Clifford Walker, who was a lawyer at the time, got involved, and it came to light that the people who had testified, Mr. Thomason, had perjured himself. He paid them to say that. Well, they arrested 2 of the witnesses on perjury charges, but by then Thomason and one of the witnesses had skipped town. They couldn't find them. So I think the governor put like a $2,000 reward out across the country, and it was not long till they got word from Kansas City that they had Thomason and the other guy in jail there, waiting for the Walton County officials to pick them up. So the sheriff went out there to get them, but it wasn't them. It was 2 other guys trying to get a free ride back to Monroe. and they never found Thomason. Another story, and this is about my cousin Claude. He went to Texas and Oklahoma after a fugitive one time, and when he got out there, the guy he was looking for had been elected to the legislature in Oklahoma. So anyway, they couldn't retry Thomason for the same thing anyway, but his wife, Myrtle Bowen, had a hat shop right here where the row is. Actually where their little walk-up window is in that second storefront. And they had a daughter named Martha. Martha was the first person to be baptized in the Baptist church that's there now. She went on to Agnes Scott, graduated from Monroe as valedictorian, went on to Agnes Scott, and died of appendicitis when she was a sophomore. So Martha had a pretty bad life. She lost her husband and her daughter there just within a few years of each other. All right, we're going to step right up here. So this building at one time was a 2-story building, and there was an office upstairs which was the first location of the Bank of Monroe. They later built the bank here, and then they moved into this building later on. At one time, if you know Harry Brown, the Brown Oil Company down here, his father had a filling station right here, and he was good friends with Lewis Howard. I don't know if you can see this picture on the map. So wait, let me see the date. 1936. So in 1936, Lewis Howard, who was on the Monroe Police Force, was over here at Harry Brown service station. This car pulled up, and a guy jumped out of the car and came inside and said, "These guys are gonna rob your filling station." And so Lewis Howard goes out there and did something that he probably regretted the rest of his life. He pulled the back door open, and the guy pulled out a double-barrel shotgun, and Lewis grabbed it by the barrel, and the guy pulled both triggers and shot him in the stomach. But that didn't keep him from emptying his revolver in the guy and killing him. But Lewis was seriously wounded. Next door, right down the street, was Harrelson's garage, I believe, and they had a flatbed truck. So they picked Lewis Howard up, put him on that truck, and carried him to the hospital, which this time was where the fire department is now. It was in a 2-story house there, the Ellis House, what it was. Well, shortly before that, Philip Stewart had arrived in town. He was a doctor and had training in surgery, which was not that prevalent at that time. And so he is credited with saving Lewis Howard's life. So, and Lewis lived to go on and become sheriff. He and Doc Sarles used to trade off being sheriff and deputy sheriff about every 2 or 4 years whenever the election was. And he's also the grandfather of our present Mayor John Howard. So, And that's it. The end.
This is Walton Entertainment. This is where you can hear from the community and those making a difference. We explore topics, local festivals, arts and entertainment, and local news. For this program and much more, visit us online at yourlocalstream.com. That's yourlocalstream.com.